Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. If you're new here, I'm Jo. I do craft videos as well as Poundland hauls and my charity shop finds. So for today's project, I wanted to make some Christmas trees out of popsicle sticks, and this is how I decorated them. I wanted to keep them quite simple, and I just used some garland in the inside. I'll show you how to make 3 different sizes, and then at the end of the video I'll show you what I did with mine. So yeah, let's get into today's craft video. So all the trees are completely made out of the popsicle sticks, and I'm using some leftover bits that I had from another project to use to stick them together. I'm just placing 2 small sections at the back of one of my full length popsicle sticks, and then I'm going to glue these in 2 sets of 4. I'm going to glue them right next to each other, and the reason that I did 4 was this is wide enough to get some battery powered candles in them. Once I've put 3 in place, I'm going to use some wire cutters to score the stick and then use some scissors to cut them. And the reason that I use the wire cutters is that I find that once I use the scissors after them, they don't split as much. I've just left enough over the edge so that I can glue the last one in place. And then this is a set of 4 ready to make into trees. For the small trees, I'm going to need 3 of these sets of 4, and for the larger tree, I'm going to need 6. So I've already made them, and then we can start to glue them together. So I'm going to start by making the smaller one first, and the sections that we glued our popsicle sticks to, I'm going to make sure that they are in the inside, and I'm going to glue this into a triangle. I'm using my hot glue gun, and the great thing about this when it dries is that it's still flexible, so you can move the pieces to the size that you need. Once the top section is dried, I'm just going to glue the bottom section in place as well. And this is the top section of our smaller tree. So for the larger tree, I'm going to glue 2 of the sections together. I am using some lollipop sticks to do this, and I'm going to start by cutting a straight edge and then just measuring it across the top of one of the sticks, and this is what we're going to use to glue them together. I am going to use some sandpaper to sand the ends to make sure that they're straight, and I'm sorry about the camera wobbling. I didn't realize that while I was using the sandpaper the camera was moving, so I do apologize. But once I've got it straight, I'm just going to hold it in place and use a pencil to mark where I need to cut. And then I'm going to cut this to size again, sand the ends. And then I'm just going to fix this in place with some hot glue and then glue the other one to it as well. I'm going to glue it so that it's overhanging over the top so that we've got enough space to glue the other one in place as well. Then once I've done this, I'm going to do exactly the same with the other 4. So we've got 3 large pieces, and then we can get on to the next part. So now that I have my 3 longer sections, I'm going to glue these into a triangle just the same way as I did the smaller one. And then we've got the tops for the larger tree and the smaller tree. To finish it off, I'm going to add some full length lollipop sticks around the outside of the triangle, just gluing them in with some hot glue, making sure that they overhang over slightly in the inside and the outside as well, like so. And I'm going to do this on the front and the back. And then once the front and the back are covered, I am going to hide the joins of where we glued the triangle together. So I've measured some strips to size, and I have sanded these as well, and I'm going to cover each of the corners of the triangle. I just held the sticks in place and then marked them with a pencil and then cut them to the size that I needed. I'm going to do this all the way around the triangle, so each of the 3 corners. And then once they're in place, to finish off, I'm just going to add some more of the popsicle sticks. So I'm just going to hold it in place, keeping the curved edge on the section that I want at the front. So you need to decide which bit's going to be the front and which bit's going to be the back. I'm going to cut this to size. Again, sand every time that I've cut the popsicle sticks, I've sanded them. And then I'm going to glue this in place. I'm going to do this on each of the 3 corners. And then everything that I've done with the smaller triangle, I'm going to do with the larger triangle. And these will be then both finished off and we can start to do the bases. So now we can work on the trunks of the trees, and I'm going to start with the larger one first. I'm going to create a section of 4 sticks glued together like we did for the sides of the triangles. And then I didn't want them to be a full height of a stick on each side. So what I did was I cut some strips to 2 inches. I cut 8 of them and then glued them into sets of 4 like so. And then I glued the 2 sections to each end of our base. And then realised that it was actually too big. It was too thick, the trunk. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking the 2 sides off, and then the full sticks that are glued together, I measured to 2 inches and then cut them to size because I just wasn't happy with how it was looking. So this is when I realised that I wanted it to be shorter. So I just measured 2 inches and cut them with the wire cutters and the scissors. It was a little bit difficult, but I ended up managing to do it. And then I just glued the 2 sides together like so. And then this can be glued to the base of our tree. So now we've got the trunk on the larger tree. I'm going to do exactly the same with the smaller tree, but I'm actually going to do them only 1.5 inches in length. So the bottom bit will be 1.5 inches and then the 2 sides will be 1.5 inches also. So I'm going to do that and then glue it to the bottom, and then we can finish the trunks off. So here are the 2 trunks, and then to finish off, I'm going to take a popsicle stick, make sure that it's got a flat edge. I'm just going to pop this in place, making sure that it's nice and neat and it fits to the bottom of the tree. And then just using a pencil, I'm going to mark where I need to cut. I'm going to do this for the 2 sides. And then once the 2 sides are in place, I'm going to put a section at the bottom as well, like so. Did it on both sides to finish it off, and then we can start to work on the 2-tier tree. So for the trees that have 2 tiers, all I'm going to do is make 4 small triangles, exactly the same way as we made the small trees. And the only difference is I'm going to glue these together in sets of 2. So I'm just going to take 1 triangle and glue the top of it to the bottom of another one, and these will form 2 trees. Once they are dry, I'm going to make the trunks exactly the same as I made the trunks for the smaller tree, 1.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches high. And then I will glue these in place and finish them off exactly the same way as I finished the other trunk. Now that all the trees are made, I've got 2 smaller trees, a larger tree, and I've got 2 of the 2-tier trees. I'm going to stain these using some medium oak stain, just following the instructions on the back of the tin. Just using a paintbrush, and I'm going to stain the insides and all around the outsides, including the insides of the trunk and the outside of the trunk as well. I'm going to let them dry, and then we can start to decorate them. So here are the trees now dry. I only did one coat. I did inside and out, made sure that it was completely covered, and I'm really happy with how they're looking. And now I'm going to start to decorate them. You could decorate them any way that you wanted. I'm going to use some garland ties, and I'm going to keep it quite simple. What I'm going to do is when you open these, they're quite flat because they've been obviously sealed in a pack. So I'm just going to twist the wire so that the bristles of the garland ties actually stand up a little bit more, and it gives it a little bit more depth and a little bit more interest than just having them completely flat. This is what it looks like flat when you take it out, and this is what it looks like when it's twisted. And then to finish off, I'm just going to glue these to the front or the inside of the front of the tree, just using a little bit of hot glue and then cutting the excess off at the end. I'm going to do exactly the same with all the trees, and then we can have a look at what they look like. So this is what they look like with just the garland at the front, and then I've popped some battery power candles in like so you could have them just stood up. Like I said, you can decorate them any way that you want. With mine, I'm going to actually make them into a wall hanging, so I'm going to glue them together at each of the sides of the triangle. I'm going to start with a smaller one, and then I'm going to have a 2-tier tree, then the larger one in the center, and then I'm going to mirror exactly the same on the other side. I'm going to pop them on the wall, put the candles on, and we can have a look what it looks like. So here we are. This is what it looks like. I've put it up on the wall quickly so you could have a look at what it looks like. It's not going up yet, but I need to make sure that when I put it up that I've got it all pinned in place and it's straight and it's exactly how I want it. But I'm really happy with how the trees turned out. I think they look really unique and a little bit different, and I love that I've glued them together to form an arrangement of like a forest. So like I said, you could decorate these in any way that you want. I think some of these would look really nice around the TV at Christmas in different colours, or with baubles put in them as well, and you could fill them with pine cones. There's loads of different things you could do with these, but I hope it's given you some ideas. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and I will be back on Friday with my next video. So till then, take care, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all then. Love you loads. Bye for now.